go.
Is this thing on? Testing. Yeah, I think we're here.
Yeah.
I am leading tonight. I am Maestro, and it's a Monday. We're not normally here, but we're going to start something new. And joining me tonight is OPT Lawyer.
Hi, Tej. Why is Nora leading this again?
And
I have no idea, but I have wine.
Okay.
And Tej has already started drinking tonight. So we are starting a kind of a weekly recap of what happened in Bay City. We're calling it Behind the Screen. We're going to go behind the masks, behind the Mutants and Masterminds interfaces, and kind of discuss the events of the week. Play some funny clips that we thought were good if we can get them up.
We do have one from last time.
Yeah.
We do have one ready.
Well, no, we have a clip made. I didn't, make it ready to put on here. Thanks for letting me know beforehand.
You have some time.
There was my cat showing everybody his tail and his backside.
But so like I said, we're going to kind of wing it this week. We'll have a little bit more of an idea.
Winging it is definitely a thing now, so... keep going. I'm going to be taking up doing this, so...
No, so we're going to hit some points. We definitely want... two of the main GMs here, OPT and Tej, Krim and Chammy being the other two, but we mostly run these two games as of right now, so good chance to pick their brains into the events and shenanigans of the week. So let's talk about the Chasing the Dragon series, Tej.
Well, what do you want to know about it?
So, we're going to kind of take a step back here. We're not going to talk straight about the episode last night right away. But let's talk about the entire arc that we've been on here. Drake losing his powers, the recovery of Alex, and Gigi confronting her mother in our Bay City Next Gen series. So, what kind of led us down this path?
Honestly, random ideas that I've had in the middle of games where I send messages to people saying, "Hey, are you okay if we do this?"
Yeah. That's been my experience too. I know at one point, and this is going back with the Alex thing, it started as we just need him, to out for this episode, and then it turned into, I have a new character that I'm playing for, half of the game.
Oh, definitely. The direct messages and the communication between the group
Discord
definitely has led...
Discord and direct messages, and Tej, back me up on this if you want. I think the fact that you can have a virtual tabletop RPG game with players and DM or GMs DMing each other back and forth, whatnot, I think that has widely expanded what you can do in games like these.
Absolutely, because it definitely allows you to come up with an idea on the fly and not have to interrupt the flow of the game to pull someone aside to talk about it. And it's not like, at a real life game where you're pulling out your phone and texting someone and that looks like you're distracted.
Right.
No, definitely. I know that we've had some shenanigans. All of us. I know Chammy and I have had our fair share as well. I don't know if you have the clip ready yet, but OPT, you and I had an interesting discussion this week about something.
We did?
It was more last week, but we may have slipped some X-Lax or something into...
Liquid Lax, yeah.
into the CEO's drink.
So, that was on Chammy's game, Emerald City, and basically the backstory of that is... there's a big party event that the players, all of us, the three of us actually are helping out at, and there's some kind of shenanigans that are going on as far as underground and whatnot. But Jacob, my character, is infected with a virus that is slowly killing him, aka the Doomed. And turns out the CEO of the company who created the virus was at this party. So, of course, Jacob, being the 16-year-old angsty teenager he is, decided that he was going to, that he really wanted to put, like, X-Lax in, or laxative in the CEO's water, and got Perry to kind of help him out with that. As in, yeah. And then so basically all that what happened was I messaged Nora in Discord. I'm like, I don't remember the exact conversation, but I can pull it up here real quick. I'm just like, oh gosh, what did I do? Because it was hilarious how that even came up.
So, I was sitting here. Y'all were doing some scene. I don't remember what y'all were doing, but I get this message from you, and it's just how juvenile.
Oh, that's right.
Perry.
Yeah, how juvenile is Perry?
How juvenile is Perry's hijinks? And I believe my response is yes.
Yes, that's right. It was very much yes.
And
that's right.
And then just
okay, I found it. So it's how juvenile does Perry's pranks go? Yes. What dumb thing do you want? Liquid laxative. Where? In the water I'm giving the CEO. Spill the water. Me. Where? You. On you. On me. Like, on me. So, yeah. So, like, out of nowhere, like, so randomly, Nora and I have this scene where Jacob's carrying the water on the tray and runs into Perry and spills one of the waters on him. And the whole time Cham is looking at us like, why are you doing this?
And meanwhile, Tej is sitting in the Discord going, my GM senses are tingling. They are up to something.
Oh, yeah, I mean, the fact that, and I'm so shocked that Cham didn't, like, think, not that he didn't get something, that it was like, I'm sitting there, like, questioning whether or not he's drank the water. Like, I'm specifically asking about this glass of water, if the CEO has, I make a flourish of giving him the water. Like, here's your water, sir. Does he drink the water? Like, and Chan's like, oh yeah, he drinks the water now, and we just start laughing. Like, yep, well, let me tell you what just happened. And Chan is about to start the whole, encounter drama part of the thing with a big explosion in the front of the event and whatnot. And right before that, we pull this off. And he's just like, that's kind of a bad time for that. Like, well, I don't know what a good time for that would have been.
Bad time, but it paid off. It gave us a distraction later when we needed it.
Yeah, so that's unintended consequences. Good ones, but still. That was just... So that what spurred that, honestly, is I'm just like, what's the dumbest thing Jacob can do here that's also completely harmless, but is something that he wants to do right now? And, trying to go along with the crazy antics everybody else always pulls off. I'm like, I want to do something funny. So I did.
Yeah, and that episode had a real different dichotomy because, Tej, you were playing the straight man.
You were playing the straight-up guy.
Which is hilarious considering the character I was playing.
Exactly!
And the terminology that's used, but...
Exactly.
Well, it's just the nature of the characters, and in that specific instance, I had to sort of not dive into the shenanigans, which anyone who knows me knows I want shenanigans.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, you do. Yes, you do. You want the shenanigans.
So that was from Dashed and Dined. We did that back on February 20th. There should be VODs on YouTube, as well as we have our wiki page if you want to go check that out. Link is in the chat.
It is now.
Check
it out. I can just do this now from this thing. Woohoo!
And if you want to see it, if you're watching us on YouTube after this does get uploaded, it'll be in the description at some point. We'll get it up there.
If we get descriptions again, yes.
Yes. But no, so that was Dash and Dine. That was a fun time. Lots of hijinks. But now we really have to kind of move into... Well, let's go into your game a little bit, OPT. We haven't touched on it in a week or two. We have not been to Kalos City, but...
We've not been there for a while, yeah.
But we've had some interesting stuff. You had a cat turn himself in to the lizards.
Yeah. So real quick,
real
quick for anyone who hasn't been watching, it's basically, long story short, there's this Kalu city. It's a modernized, like almost sci-fi kind of city. Tiny bit of magic. Then there's this citadel in like a forest outside of the city that houses just a tribe of lizards, like, a massive installation thereof. And at least everybody thought that they were trying to take over Kailu's city. There's a lot of things going on between Apollo and then Cal that actually got Apollo to basically turn himself into the lizards, which is not something I was expecting to happen. But thankfully, I knew I could use that to reveal a little bit of information I hadn't been planning to reveal at that point. But I'm like, well, we're in the position, so might as well. The fact that the lizards believe that something more powerful is coming, and they just want to absorb as many resources as possible because they need to fight it.
And that does bring up a good point here that I want to ask both of you as GMs. We say we're flying by the seat of the pants tonight. I truly am. I'm making half of this up as I go.
Mm-hmm.
How does that impact you? Masks being a very open-ended game with very little structure around it. How does that impact your episodes?
Do you want to start this, or do you want me to start?
See, it's interesting because I come from a background of running games that have much more of a structure to them, as the better part of the camera is now away, so you get my face again. No one needs to see what the cat is doing right now. But I come from a background of running games that you definitely have more. You have. I don't want to say that you have to follow the railroad tracks, but you at least have to put walls in the sandbox. Whereas Mask, even the sandbox is pretty much just a suggestion. And
yes.
The sandbox is actually the desert.
Yes, and at that point, it's one of those situations where, as long as you're comfortable with being able to improvise, then you're good. And I think a lot of that comes from in the game like D&D. You have to have all these encounters, and a lot of times you get the notion of, this is a hack and slash, let's go ahead and beat up all the goblins or the kobolds or whatever it is. Then go find the big bad and beat them. Mask is less a game about combat and more a game about emotional investment. So understanding how the ebb and flow of a combat works with the emotions involved is a much different skill set. And learning how to give your bad guys a drive, a purpose, and understand that sometimes it's not a matter of a fight till someone's arrested, or it's a matter of, oh, hey, this is what my drive is. Oh, you can help me with that? I'm not your enemy anymore.
I will say my biggest issue when I first did a Masks game was just the I had DM'd or GM'd Dungeons and Dragons for like 2 years, 4 years. We had a campaign that went on forever, and it just like most campaigns do, it literally sputtered to a stop. But it was very structured, very much so. I sort of presented the characters with options, and then it was one of those things like, those games where you have options, except that both options go to the same place and don't actually affect anything. Yeah, that was kind of how that went. I had a good story, and everyone was having fun with it, so it didn't really matter. But I didn't understand what letting the players tell the story meant until I started playing Masks. Until I started running Masks, really. And I think you guys remember, after one of the episodes, I almost just stopped. So I'm like, I can't take this anymore. But thankfully, I decided I could figure out how to utilize the crazy shenanigans you guys did. And
Can I have my mouse, please? Thank you.
Speaking of shenanigans,
Right.
Cat has mouse.
And after that, I just started being like, you know what? I just let them do whatever the hell they want to, just respond to it. And I realized that's what I'm supposed to do.
Definitely. No, it's been great to see that evolution, and especially in both of you, because I know Tej has been running our Mutants and Masterminds campaign, Bay City proper, which we'll touch on just a little bit about its future. We don't have Krim here to really dig into that, but watching Tej go from that Mutants and Masterminds a little bit more structured. You didn't have the D&D grid where you have to move and be within position and range, but you had some of that to the much more open-ended, my players can do whatever it was, and as it's called, the rule of fun.
Yeah.
Watching you both embrace the rule of fun really inspired me to run my campaign, which it's an offline campaign. It's the Lords of London as we're running it. It may come in at some point. We may drop a special or something, but it's been a lot of fun, running that and improvising and watching the three of you play a scene out. Like I've gotten up, cooked dinner, put the kids to bed, kept my headphones on, and just listened to the three of you riff on each other for 20 minutes. And that is some of the most rewarding time.
Nice.
There is nothing better as a GM than putting your feet up and letting your players go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, absolutely. It's great.
There's been some times where, not necessarily Kailu City, I run another game for a group of people, completely, separate group here, not online. And I have definitely been able to just, get up, go use the restroom, go grab something from the kitchen, and then come back, and they're still just going on their scene, whatever they're doing, just they're just role playing, and I'll unplug the speaker so I can hear it, but yeah, I'll just come back and they're still going. And they haven't needed me, and I'm just yep, I'm here. Or just let me know when I'm needed to do anything.
And so I know that we're kind of doing a looking behind the scenes at the shows, but I'm also kind of wanting to have segments where we talk about, DMing and GMing. One of the next questions I want, and this is one that applies to, business people now with the whole COVID. We were a remote team from the start. All of us, most of y'all live up together, kind of close to each other, but I'm thousands of miles away from everyone. How has that impacted the GM? We have the technology. How has that actually impacted you as a GM instead of having everyone in the room with you?
Well, it's interesting because the one thing you can't do through a virtual thing is very hard to read the body language of people and the non-verbal cues that they're giving you.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been a part of several scenes in real-life tabletop games where the fact that we were in the room, the fact that myself and the person, I've told the story to you, Nora, I'm going to tell it again here. One of my favorite scenes that we can't necessarily do justice in a virtual setting, but to give it a comparison, it's also a good thing to understand of character versus player, that you're in character and you don't hate the person playing the other character. Myself and a good buddy of mine, we're having an in-character argument to the point where him and I literally get up nose to nose with each other. We are nose to nose, headbutt to headbutt, forehead to forehead, just screaming at each other. The GM is leaning on the counter, just looking, oh my god, this is great. The other two players in the campaign are like, are we going to have to separate them? Now keep in mind, him and I are the two biggest ones here. There's no way the three of them are separating us if we're getting mad. I mean, we're just going at it, blah, 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 going, right? And the GM's like, and we're done. So we stop. I look at him, he looks at me. Both big smiles on our faces. Want to do a shot? Yeah, let's do a shot. You lose that sort of dynamic, that fully immersing yourself in the role play aspect of it with the movement.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, to get back to answer the question, part of being able to do things virtually is, one, how many times have I been GMing from a location not my normal location? It allows you to do that because all you need is a webcam and mic.
Yep.
It allows you to, like I said earlier, not disrupt the flow of a game by sending messages because we're all on the computer anyway.
Yeah.
So it allows you to do more things on the fly than you normally would.
I could say I've never actually GM'd in person. Like, I've never had that experience. I've been at a table a couple of times. A friend of mine, Cham, was running an Ironclaw campaign, a real-life one. Everybody else was there at the table, but basically, like, I came in and played once, and everyone there liked me enough to the point they wanted me to, like, keep playing. But, I'm, like, 2 hours away. So, one of the group just, like, had a computer that he wasn't using. So he literally hooked this thing up, like a webcam, speakers, microphone in the center of the table, so they could see me, and I could see, like a monitor, so they could see me, and I could see them. I would roll using, like, whatever, it wasn't Roll20 at the time. We had, like, map tools or whatever, like, open source program we would use. But, yeah, that was a very interesting thing. Unfortunate that we're 1 session off from the finale.
Oh.
We just couldn't get everyone back together again. One of those things, like, people got jobs, they moved away or got married and whatnot, had a kid, and it was really unfortunate because we were really coming up on, like, the grand finale. But I think that's also the reason why we never, like, once we split up and it had been a while, it was one of those things of, well, we only have 1 session to go, and it's just like,
That's I think, and to that point, though, that's one of the advantages of having this is, I know I was on work trips, and I would just dial in and be on the call. I was driving home from Waco and had the phone just sitting on a holder and played the whole game while driving home.
Yeah.
Or lately at the baseball field when we've got practice or something, stick the earbuds in. You lose me on the camera, but you still get the character. It's one of those things where I think it's opened the doors.
Oh yeah,
from what I've seen to more people being able to play.
100%, absolutely. Because I mean, obviously, we wouldn't have this group if it wasn't for this.
No, we wouldn't.
And the greatest thing of it is, like, we were able to, like, just keep doing this while, all of the other stuff was going on in the world last year seamlessly, because it didn't matter, because we were already doing this, like, states away from each other. We didn't have any problems. And I don't think I've seen so many more and more, like, games, like, popping up on Twitch, like, streams, channels that are dedicated to tabletop RPG games and whatnot, that they can do virtually instead of, like, and this is before the pandemic and whatnot, like, before all of that, and to see that is, like, we've come from, like, having the GM at the table, with the thing in front of him, whatnot, doing the behind-the-scenes stuff, if you will, we've come, like, obviously people still do that, but, we've come a lot of way from that being the only way to play your D&D games to all of the stuff we do here. I mean, I honestly, if we played Masks in person, I actually am not entirely certain I would know how to play any of the roles, considering, I just push buttons here.
No, I know we've been discussing when we are able to, having a Bay City proper and having a few of the different sideshows properly at a table with the camera. We've discussed it, and I agree. It's going to be a very different feeling show if and when we successfully pull that off, because the dynamic's different. Yes, we turned cameras on. I want to say we pre-recorded the first 10 episodes of Bay City.
11 or 12. I think it was 11 or 12, and then we lost one, and then we went live with them.
Yeah, but I think going live and then adding the cameras has really... It's changed the games that we played. Yeah. Those first 12 episodes, a lot of it was us finding our feet, but it's been... With the cameras, we can see the personalities in the characters.
Yeah.
And really, it's really enhancing the game.
Agreed.
I guess before we dive into the big topic, which is going to be the Chasing the Dragon... arc that we're in, but also the capes. What was it? Kissing Capes.
Cape Actually.
Or Cape Actually. Kissing Capes. You had a couple different variations of titles. Do either one of y'all...
The name of the game show that there was on.
That's right. Do either one of y'all have any questions for each other or for me as far as a player or anything y'all want to hit on from the week or anything prior?
I'd say as one of the characters that was kind of watching from like the background, like watching you guys do that whole game show was hilarious. Especially the way it came out with Cham and Hunter in the most amazing not choreographed scene I've ever seen.
Where Tammy completely misunderstood the questions.
Absolutely. Yeah. That was so I'm pretty certain I got a DM from Tej at some point in that. Mm-hmm. I can't tell if that's Chammy being Chammy or Chammy being Gigi.
I said that in our chat at one point, and I think I actually said it out loud at one point. I'm like I don't know, Cham. I know you well. Yeah, Cham. I know you well enough to know. I don't know if this is you or Gigi.
But that was a fantastic moment because it's really how that character, how Gigi would have, if you, it was such a real moment, and it was such a fantastic scene. Mm-hmm. And yes, as we just did have the clip posted, we did have probably, I can't say the best line ever in a tabletop.
It was pretty close.
It was something.
It was one of the better like improv lines I've ever heard.
That's the thing. It wasn't an improv line.
Okay.
I knew ahead of time. Like there are certain things you know as a GM, like you understand characters, and I knew it had been so long since I had mentioned Hunter's backstory that you guys, none of you would remember it. So I knew I had the line about his parents being dead in my back pocket. I know that's not something to joke about, but in my head I'm like, no one's going to remember this. I have this line I can drop on people, and it's going to get a visceral reaction. I wasn't expecting that reaction.
It was
I knew I was expecting a reaction.
Because the way it was delivered, the way it all came out, and because the way like you're whispering and whatnot, and it was like, your father is better than my dead parents. Like the way you just said it, I remember I was already like laughing my ass off as to what was going on, and that was just like the tipping point. You can see in the clip there, like I'm gone at that point. I'm not even in the scene or not. I'm gone. That's it. I'm like,
It was such a fantastic scene, and it was played out so perfectly. And Tej's part was scripted, but Chammy's was not.
No. And since the scripted, Tej was, as he just said, he had the line, but
But the rest of the interaction was all fluid.
Right, like I had the advantage that I knew the questions I was going to ask.
Right.
I had the advantage that I knew I was playing both NPCs on the receiving end of the questions. So I knew pretty well, as I hit my hand and my elbow on my desk, I knew pretty well what I was getting into. I purposely picked questions as the GM that were going to be much easier for the Drake Nina side of that than would be for the Gianna Hunter side of it.
Yeah.
Because I wanted the obstacle course to be a thing, and I also figured it would be funny.
Yeah.
And it paid off. It really did.
Yeah. Yeah, it did. Yeah, it did.
OPT's broken again.
But, yeah. That was fun. As I said, just being able to... Especially, like, being able to watch it and not being in the scene, which allowed me to actually just sit back and, like, enjoy it rather than think about, like, how Charlie was going to react to any of it and whatnot.
Well, the other funny thing about that whole scene is the fact that I'm playing out this entire scene, and as I'm doing so, I'm having a DM set with OPT saying, quote, hey, do you have the audio for that random ad we recorded? I want to use it as an ad break for the show. And so I'm trying to get, he's like, I think I found it. I found it. When am I going to play it? I'll let you know when to play it. I'll play it up. So, like, we didn't even know we were going to do the ad until we're, like, either right before the show or during the start of it. We're like, hey, can we pull this off?
And speaking of the ad, our wonderful tech person is going to put it up. And when we come back, we're going to play a game with these two.
Okay.
We're going to... Game? What?
I don't know. Anyway, alright. Gonna hit this here then.
Okay, why am I here again?
Well, it's simple. You're here to promote Kestrel Crunchies. You know that cereal about your friend?
Yeah, wait, Kestrel has a cereal? Why does he get a cereal? I'm the guy who cooks everything around here. I should...
Look, I'm just the director. I don't know why the squirrel has a cereal and the otter doesn't, but he does. And you're the best one I've been told to read the ad. So, are you going to read the ad, or am I going to have to go get the guy who burns the Sudoku books?
I mean, I don't think he'd be able to... Okay, alright, fine. I'll do it. Alright, fine. Okay, but, I don't know, this... Is this a script? Really? Why am I telling people what they taste like? I mean, they can't really taste anything, right?
Look, that's just how radio works, Lutra. I don't make the rules. Now, would you please just read the ad?
Yeah, okay. I mean, I guess, yeah, the script really isn't how I talk, though. Yeah, it says it'll give you a jolt of energy, but why would anybody need a jolt of energy? I mean, trust me, bad things can happen if you get addicted to things like that. It's not really a great idea.
Lutra.
Yep. Phantasm?
Lutra.
Hey. What's up? Why are you here?
Lutra, you're the one that everyone knows and recognizes. I mean, literally. You are the face of the entire Bay City area. They don't know the squirrel. You're just a spokesperson, to help him out. You're a nice guy. So I know that you don't mind helping pals out. Besides, imagine, if this takes off, you may get a spokes otter job for Swedish fish and fresh halibut. Imagine all the Swedish fish you could want. Just follow the script and get through it.
Oh my goodness, that sounds like a great... Alright, yeah, absolutely. Okay, gotcha. Yes, sir. Absolutely. All right. Kestrel Crunchies, the super speedy way to start your day. A burst of flavor in every bite. Also, a free acorn in every box. Wait, why would anybody want an acorn?
Lutra!
Oh, sorry. Kestrel Crunchies, get your morning started like a superhero.
And cut. That's the take. I'm done. We'll fix it in editing.
Kestrel Crunchies, the official cereal of the Bay City Chronicles.
All right, and welcome back. That is one of the fantastic moments we had where something just random happened.
I thought we had a bit of a script for that.
Well, we had a script for that one.
More bullet points.
Right. That's also true.
But the whole idea of the cereal.
Oh, the cereal, yeah.
Just random offshoot line that no one really saw coming.
I mean, I broke you guys last night with an offshoot line.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of offshoot lines, like I said before we did run that little clip, we're going to play a game.
Okay.
So if you remember...
My wine's empty. Should I get more?
You may need it. So we're gonna do a little bit of a combination. If you've seen the Whose Line Is It Anyway show, they do a thing called Scenes from a Hat.
Good. I'm not doing Irish drinking song.
No, but so I'm gonna have OPT and Tej act out a scene. I'm gonna give them their characters, and I'm gonna give them a prompt. And we're going to kind of show off the improv skills that these two have and putting off a scene that they have no clue is coming at them.
Hold on. OPT, he thinks we have skills?
Shh! I've got him right where I want him.
See, I was just going to make a joke about where he lived.
Sorry, we don't have any power down here.
Exactly.
Exactly my point.
All right. So, OPT, you'll be playing your favorite character, Lutra.
Oh, great!
And Tej, you'll be playing Hub. Or Hunter, your choice.
Next question.
Yes.
Which version? There's hub. There's hub. There's hunter. There's future hunter, and there's rebound. You have 4 options.
BCC proper hunter pre.
No, not future hunter. Okay.
Not future. Yeah.
Okay, so not okay.
And the scene I would like y'all to play is rejected TV spinoffs. Okay.
So, typing. Hub! Hub?
Yeah, are you okay?
Well,
You sounded like you swallowed a squeaky toy.
Yeah, I was just thinking about something, because, one of my favorite TV shows doesn't seem to have, anything that happens afterwards. I don't understand it, so I was wondering, do you think I could get, you think you can get me in touch with, one of those people that makes TV shows?
Me personally, no. I'm an AI that's attached to this building. I personally probably cannot. I think my dad might be able to, though.
Oh,
what are you talking about?
Well, I've got this great idea. So, there was this whole TV show that was about an island, and some humans were on it, whatever, and they were, there for a very long time, but, they left. So, what if we got on the island? Because, being the otter, we could talk about all the sorts of fish. It could be a really cool cooking show.
You're going to have to be a little more specific, because I can think of 3 different islands, and right now, I'm a little lost.
Right. Well, not that one. No, not that one, because I didn't understand that show much, and I tried to. No, it's the one that the guy's got the big white hat, and then there's the dude with the guy with the blue shirt, and he's really kind of and then there's this person that has a whole bunch of money, and then
Lutra.
What?
Did you just watch the show because there was a character named Ginger and you thought it was food?
No.
Lutra?
What?
You thought it was a cooking show, didn't you?
Might have, yes. I don't know why it wouldn't be. What else are you gonna do on an island?
Survive?
Yes, by cooking food. So of course,
yes. What are you going to call this wonderful show that has you trapped on an island with a camera crew and some coconuts?
Oh, I was thinking about Fishy Island. What?
You can hear the computer face palming.
Right. So I'm gonna go with that's probably not gonna work.
I don't think so. I really don't.
Oh.
But it's okay because if you'd like, I think I might be able to get you on for another spin-off TV show.
Oh,
I'm not
great!
Sure if you've seen this. I'm not sure if you've seen this one, Lutra. I know the reruns are everywhere, but do you know of 3 other cranky otters we could get with you to put in an apartment for a bit?
Well, there's one at the zoo who doesn't really like me all that much. He squeaks a lot.
Okay.
There's one down near the beach where I go water ski. He doesn't like me all that much. He just kind of squeaks and grunts.
Well, then that's not going to work because the entire point is to get 4 cranky old otters together in an apartment and to film their shenanigans about what they're doing. I mean, and from the looks of it, you're definitely a Blanche. But I don't think anyone's going to want my Onyx Otters spinoff.
Oh, what's a Blanche? Oh, wait. Isn't... Oh, no, you know what? Yeah, I can blanch all sorts of things. I do that vegetables all the time.
And in scene. I can't go any further.
I mean...
That was fantastic.
You got.
Did you like how we both went food jokes there?
I was not expecting the sheer ludicrousness of that, and I was the one who expected it to be ludicrous.
Hey, you gave it to us, bro.
That was amazing.
Anything you put Lucha in, I can make completely and totally ludicrous for no reason. Mostly because he'll never understand any of it. So.
I mean, that's true. That's true.
And that right there shows how well they know their characters, but also how well they know each other. and their improv skills are just on point. Literally 3 words. Here's your character. Here's a script. Here's a plot. Go nuts.
Go.
And that was 15 minutes of I need to go wash my face and get the tears out.
Oh, you have running water now? That shouldn't have power.
Yeah.
We don't talk about that one.
All right, so we've kind of hit around it now. We're getting into the meat of this. We need to talk about the Chasing the Dragon and kind of what happened.
Well, what happened is available to watch on the YouTube channel and the Twitch VOD, so that's what happened.
It will be. Yesterday's will be up soonish. It's just I wait a few days.
That's fine. So I guess what questions do you guys want to know? Because this is the whole thing. This is behind the screen where you guys sort of get to voice your. I was thinking of. So go ahead and ask away.
Well, as we're bouncing around on the
I hit the wrong button
here.
It's good.
So my first question, we kind of discussed this with Drake in the series. We were at a decision point with Drake. What decision were you hoping I made? The decision was to reclaim the powers or pick new powers. As a GM, you didn't really have a say in that.
I don't. If you just answer real quick, my guess is he's not good. He's going to be like, I didn't care which one you picked.
He's not going to care. But as a story and as a GM that's built this world and all the experiences in it, did you lean towards a side when I was making that decision?
Well, you're partially wrong in your description because there were 3 options there.
Right. There were 3.
The third option was to don the mask, become the Avatar, and transition into being an NPC. That was the one I least wanted to happen because, while yes, that's a resolution, it's a bad resolution.
Yeah, it's the bad ending to the story.
Right. I think that either of the other 2 options, whether you gave up on your powers or find a way to reclaim them, both had good intentions and good options for storytelling perspectives. So from that, it was less a matter of which one you chose, but more a matter of how you chose to implement it. And if you look at part 1, The Man Who Would Be Kaiser, if you look at what we played yesterday, it's very much a collaborative discussion that you and I had about this very much is Drake's decision-making point. This is his nexus point. And setting you, the entire purpose of that was to set Drake up to make a decision. And to go behind a little bit here, let me pull out one of my papers. You guys know this very well. You guys have played enough games with me to know how I like to do things. One of my favorite things to pull out is these clocks.
Yes.
Okay?
Very true.
So those clocks
we see him drawing circles when we start getting nervous.
Yeah, those clocks determine how close bad things are to happening. So far, they've never actually had a clock be filled. They've come close.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, to be fair, one of those was for Alex or Chase to discover Alex's identity, and Alex just kind of filled that out for him.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. But the other ones I can think of offhand is Gigi turning into the Van-B was one, and then there was another one I can't remember what it was though.
If I remember, that got really close to happening.
It did.
It did.
So with the clocks here, you saw one of those clocks was nearly filled. It was at 9 o'clock, and had it gets fully filled, something bad would have happened. Now, in that scenario there, that would have been something bad happening to the person whose clock that was, which was the NPC Hilbert. So that would have made another decision point for what happened. But the whole part of specifically last night of Chasing Dragon Part 1, it was a story focused on Drake and the decision he wanted to make, while also still progressing stories for the other characters, specifically in this case, Alex and Gigi. Alex confronting not necessarily the death of his father in the accident, because that was just something I used as a crux of a fear point, something that he would be afraid of. But it was the big crux to tell the story of he's powerless to help. And the arc Alex is going through right now is all about wanting to help people, maybe even too much. And with Gigi, it was the whole thing about, well, now everyone knows I'm the daughter of the Dreamweaver. And coming to confront that and accept that and not try and hide from that. So this episode, this issue, even though it seemed like it was a Drake-centric episode, and it was to a point, but it also served to push the narrative of the rest of the things that are to come in this full Chasing the Dragon story. And to answer the next question I know is going to come up, why do we have Chasing the Dragon Part 1 when it seems like the whole build-up was Drake getting his powers back? Well, the answer to that is it's a double entendre, because of the concept of chasing a dragon isn't necessarily chasing to get the powers back. That was Drake's dragon he was chasing. Mm-hmm. But ultimately, the entire team is chasing the dragon, this big bad that is not just Dreamweaver, but Dreamweaver coming over from the dreaming to try and make it into the material world.
Via the dragon.
Figuring out how to stop that.
Right.
Technically through the dragon realms. So that's the dragon they're chasing now.
Definitely. And we now have Chammy or Chameleon Ice joining us. Look at his.
And Catbutt.
And cats.
Everyone loves Cat.
Indeed.
Hey, Chammy, we're just now talking about the Chasing the Dragon episode we had last night. Kind of picking Teej's brain about the scenes and any questions that we had for each other or for Tej about kind of the events that were going on.
Gotcha. I did hear the beginning of this, sort of, so I'm somewhat up to speed at least on that. So yeah, that's.
I do want to point out that I do find it funny that I type Golden Girls into our Discord chat and suddenly you appear.
I did start to Chammy senses tingling.
But your GM senses don't tingle at all. Got it.
No, yes. Never.
We already discussed that. So
we did. Yeah, we already threw you under the bus there.
Aw, I'm glad I missed it.
So Chammy, I do want to ask you on this for Gigi.
I just got it.
I know you got here, but bringing you into the fold here, Gigi's dream sequence in the nightmare was being side by side with her mother. Playing that scene out as a veteran player, how did that impact you last night? How did that juxtaposition of we've been going after the big bad and now you are allied with the big bad really kind of feel?
Well, the weird thing is, probably because of the way I'm playing Gigi, is I don't ever think of Dreamweaver as being the big bad. I realize she's the villain. When I think of for Gigi, it's but she's also her mom. So it's it's an obstacle for her to sort of overcome and kind of just settle with. And so when I saw Gigi being with her mom like that, being in that moment, it was less about saying I'm right next to the big bad villain, this is what this is all about, and it was more really personal. And weirdly about Gigi kind of looking at that and seeing am I gonna become like that? And what does this feel like? And sort of kind of where her mental space was when it came to trying to settle it all. And it was amazingly tense. I actually was surprised at how tense it felt for me.
There was a lot of drama last night.
Yeah, there was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there was. I like the fact that Charlie's kind of finally found Chase in all of this mess, and he's just like, it's just like staring at him angrily as the comic book closes. It's like I came here just so I could punch you.
I do love how throughout the first part of it, you're all like, "Oh, Chase Cassidy, he's the guy. He has this overarching. He's not necessarily the big bad, but he's like the guy you all hate."
Right.
And now it's all turned on the. Well, everyone thinks you killed him or kidnapped him, so now you have to save him. And
Right.
I love how that's been turned on its head.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. We still want to punch him.
Oh yeah, no. Charlie, I think, wants to beat the crap out of the guy, but more like, well, we'll get into that at some point. But yeah, it's an interesting. Speaking of punchable faces.
No, so I already asked Teach this. So y'all knew this was coming at some point. But I didn't really discuss with either one of you, Cham or OPT, what y'all's thoughts were with Drake going into the depowered and coming back out. If he was going to be a dragon still, if he was going to go some other route. Because the option was basically pick a new playbook.
You know, when it first, like, right before you officially went into depowered mode, part of it was strange because I thought Drake was acting a little weird and slightly out of character. But as it started being explained, it's like, okay, that actually makes more sense looking back at it, kind of a thing. Like the after explanation.
Yeah. I think he definitely handled things well.
Yeah, and it's turned out to be just a very great, storyline. That
Weirdly enough, though, like, in response to your question there, Nora, I never assumed that there would be any other result to this than Drake reuniting with his dragon powers.
Yeah.
Like, it was not even a glimmer of a thought in my mind that it would go any other way. Like, that was just the story. It's kind of what Drake was about. It was kind of the path he was on, like, in terms of, like, the character growth, was to kind of have that resolution. And, like, even if he, like, somehow died in the end, he was gonna die, like, basically as a dragon. Like, I did not see it ending any other way.
Yeah, I think there was a point to follow up about halfway through the depowered sessions where I'd finally made that decision. Mm-hmm. And Teach and I were, I don't even remember if we were on my stream or if we were just playing, because Teach and I play Z1 almost every day, so we talk constantly. And at some point I said, okay, this is what I need you to do. I need you to beat the living tar out of Drake.
Mm-hmm.
And as a GM, when your PC says, beat the crap out of my character, you know what you do as a GM? You go full Mr. Burns and go, yeah, excellent. Yeah.
And so, we play the mask systems, and on the back end, one of the things that is set up is conditions. Your character has 5 conditions. After you take the 5th, if you take another condition, you're done. So one of the things we did was we triggered Drake rapidly to hold 5 conditions, and I refused to clear conditions.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Yes, you did.
Reason being was setting up so that I would fail rolls. One, to build up the
potential you needed to
the
get
potential meter that you need to get the advances. But 2, as a plot device, Drake could always get crushed at that point. And that was one of the things that we discussed very early on of how to proceed the arc without speed running it, but at the same time without it dragging forever too.
So, I was wondering something a few times with that. Like, why did you need the system to kind of back you up in there? Like, why not just make a decision saying, like, you know what, I want Drake to fail here. We're not going to bother rolling. This is a time where he's not going to be able to make it.
That was always an option. In fact, Teach gave me the option last night of I needed 2 potential to finish the final step, and I ignored that and I played the scene with rolls, knowing I would fail the rolls based on what I had the condition in the rolls I was making were -2 to begin with. So I practically couldn't succeed at the roll. And by doing that, it was a more organic process.
Yeah.
It let Drake play the scenes out and have natural consequences instead of saying this just happens. It was still we rolled with it as if the roles happened and played fair,
Right.
then we would continue going as it is.
But you didn't play fair. You stacked the deck.
I didn't stack the deck. I manipulated the game system.
That is a great lawyer answer, and I love you for it.
but to the point, that's understanding the game system and what you need. It's it's a little bit of min-maxing.
I need to interject here for a little bit.
Yeah, go ahead.
You brought up something, and mass is a system that you can min-max very easily if you understand what you're doing. But as a GM, you have to understand the reasons your players are doing something. And you were doing that purposely, not to game the system in a way that you win, but to set up for the story. And if you're trying to tell a good story as a GM, like, I know what you're doing. I can sit there and say, no, this doesn't trigger a roll, this doesn't require a roll.
Right.
But it makes sense in the fact of this is the story you're trying to tell, and I know what you're doing, so I'm okay with this. It also makes sense from the fact that, keep in mind, all these conditions that we're talking about, they're not physical conditions.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
All of the conditions are emotional.
For sure.
And even now, as adults, we make bad decisions when we're emotional.
Oh, extremely.
So who's to say that in the heat of, Drake has lost his powers, all of his supposed friends just walked out on him, he has nothing else to do, yeah, he's going to make a bad decision.
Yeah,
Seven.
Of course he is, yeah.
Yeah, I buy that.
7 or 8. I mean, there were a lot of bad decisions for Drake. But in the end, his friends stood by him when it mattered the most. And that moment really helped show Drake and the dragons that this person is the right person.
And that was a good moment. Like, you built up to it well.
Yeah. I think I said this at some point, but honestly, part of me thought that comic book was going to end like right as the death sickle came down towards Drake. I was literally expecting and we're going to end it with mid swing or whatnot, but
that would have been a very part 1 thing to do.
Right. Yeah. Well, we discussed earlier because it said part 1. I'm like, that's what I thought was going to happen. But with obviously where everything's going, it makes a lot of sense that you'd want to finish that that scene instead of stopping it.
Well, and I think Tej and I definitely talked about it last night, because one of the things we do after every episode is we spend about 20 minutes talking. A lot of it's because we have to cool down.
Pretty much, yeah. There is a decompressing.
There's a mental... And last night definitely needed to decompress. I can tell you this much. I was on edge.
Trust me, I understand. 100% understand how that is. Yeah.
Everyone on this show has been in that scene before.
For sure.
We have.
But what we discussed is that it emotionally made sense to go forward to where we ended versus stopping with the sickle, because how hard would that be to come in a week later and have to put yourself in that emotional situation already at the start of the episode?
Oh yeah, I don't think I'd be able to do it.
Which is what we would have had to do.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I mean,
so it would have been a very tough episode to start.
Yeah.
So it made a lot of sense the way we went. Also, Kitty's back.
Kitty.
But so that it was a great. This was a fantastic episode. I'm running out of questions though.
Then that's kind of where we would wrap it up. Then
It's actually been like an hour anyway.
So our plan is to we did a little bit different this time. It's our first one. Ideally, we're going to do this once a week, maybe a little bit less, depending. But we'd like to do this on Monday nights. Bring in as many of the people, Cham and Dark, if they run into episodes. Talk about the episodes across the series. Maybe play a fun game, do some improv. I've got a couple other ones in the bag, but more than anything, show the audience kind of the thought process behind what we do every week. So,
so you're saying the next episode is going to be like about 10 minutes of dead air? We're like, yeah, thought went in this week.
but also,
Joking.
you know, we did the retrospective, so there's always the opportunity for us to talk more on the retrospective side, such as, you know, how is a GM handling these situations as well. So it's a very it's a very nice format for us to kind of bring the, you know, you'd call it an after show. After we've finished the episode, we come back on and say, hey, we're here to you know what happened. But you know, a nice recap to start the new week off before we start shows. Plus, we can plug our schedule if we know it.
What's a schedule?
Which we don't know this week because my schedule's awful.
I was like, do we have one? It's kind of like, hey, can we play it today? Like, yeah, all right, great, let's go.
So I will say this much. I would not expect any episodes until Saturday at the earliest.
Yeah.
If you're not following the Bay City Twitter, it is posted in the chat right now. Follow that. Oops. We will tweet out usually about 5-10 minutes before we go live. Also follow the channel. If you're on YouTube, give us a follow there. Come over to the Twitch page. Watch us live. We play usually every Sunday night around 8 or 9 p.m. Eastern. Ish. And we play some form, and then our other shows come and go as we all get together. But I think that's a good spot to wrap it up for us. So until next time, which may be Sunday, for Chameleon Ice, OPT Lawyer, and TGE, I've been Northeastern, and y'all have a good evening.
Bye, alls.